What's up, Ryan? I'm not very good at these vlog style videos, so I'm gonna try my hardest to do a video response that actually is like coherent and easy to watch. But um, I watched your last video on creative integrity, and I wanted to respond to it because I'm a big Turtham fan. I'm gonna talk and draw because I've got a project I'm working on right now for art, and that somebody requested that I really have to get going on. So I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the specifics of it because the guy who is talking to me about it didn't give me permission, so I'm not going to talk much about it, but I'll just work while I talk. But anyways, I was going to comment on your creative integrity video because that's a subject that kind of reaches home, really, for me. It's something that I've always kind of felt strongly about, especially when it comes to manga as a medium, because I think it's so easy to do it wrong and do it uncreatively that it's a very important subject to get out in the public and talk about with people who are thinking of doing it as like a profession or a hobby or whatever. With creative expression, my biggest pet peeve with it really is, well, speeding up and taking things too fast like you were talking about and not putting your best quality work in it. But for me, the thing that bugs me the most is lack of originality in art and lack of originality in story. Because I mean, if you're not original, why are you even bothering doing it? I mean, if you're not doing something that's new, no one's gonna care. I mean, I don't understand to this day why people pay to see the same things over and over again. So, but as far as art goes, I think it would be hard for all people to be truly original in the art and all. I think really what it comes down to is you can learn from other artists to a certain point, but once you get skilled enough, you've got to let go of the references, stop looking at other people's things while you're drawing, and start drawing from reality and interpreting things the way you see them. And that's how you really become original. I mean, I don't feel like, just always drawing based off of what you see other people draw is going to work. You have to interpret real life objects and people in your own way. And I feel like that's hard for a lot of people, especially if you aren't as strong in the art and if you're stronger in the story area and stuff. But I feel like that's like really important. I mean, I don't like seeing the same thing over and over. But one of the most important things, and it will definitely pertain to you, is the story. I mean, the story is definitely key. I mean, you can have, if you're doing manga, it needs to be very visual and the art's very important too, but the story is right there with the art and importance. And when I get tired of seeing the same goddamn story over and over again, it gets so old. I mean, because it always seems to me like you have a shonen series where the character's got like some big boss to beat at the end of the fight, and he has to level up and train and all this BS, and I just get like, oh my gosh. Because you see it coming on, you feel like reading a story, and you're like, holy crap, here comes the training sequence, and you're like, no. But, and the sad thing is, even though a lot of the people who, do this independently aren't mainstream, you still see that same pattern repeated because it's what they've grown to know and love, I guess. I don't know, but it kind of gets repeated a lot, and I'm like, stop it. So I feel like that's kind of breaking your creative integrity there, to repeat something that you've seen done over and over again, and to kind of follow this whole basic story route that's been overdone and it's just really lame. And another thing that really bothers me with creative integrity is when people basically do characters that they aren't themselves familiar with. I see the same character archetypes over and over again also. Like, you've got like this one big strong main character who's, all powerful but humble and clumsy and all this crap at the same time, and then you've got the other character, his buddy, ends up his enemy at the beginning and all, and that's okay, but it's alright to have a cliche from the beginning, but I feel like people take the cliche and they don't ever take it to the next level and take it to something that's really new and different. And I mean, just that sort of thing gets on my nerves as a pet peeve. And one of my worst pet peeves, I don't know why, but is American writers who write stories about characters with Japanese names all the time. and all these Japanese characters that live in Japan, and American writers live here. And it's not so much that that itself is bad, but it just comes out as a character that the American writers aren't as really familiar with. I mean, you're not going to be able to write as well for someone who lives in an entirely different country as you would be for someone who's grown up, in a place you understand more. And I think people get the misconception going that they understand Japan because they watch cartoons about it or they read all these comics and stuff. They think they can write about a Japanese character really, candidly and do it well and all. And that's really hard. I mean, you have to study another culture to really understand what they're all about, not just watch the TV and stuff. You'd have to be like going to college to learn about these people. So, and I mean, with my own story, I have characters of different ethnicities and all, but they're not the characters I put as main characters, the ones I delve as deep into, because it would be hard. You can't really put a main character into your story that you don't understand. You have to understand how these people are thinking, what the whole thought process and all, and it's got to be really original so that you can write something that feels real, it's organic, you can feel that character, but also at the same time something that hadn't been done before. But yeah, that's my whole spill on creative integrity. Basically, my whole issue with creative integrity is not just rushing yourself and trying to get your, like you said, quantity over quality, but also originality. Just doing something for the sake of doing it is not the same as doing something because you feel like it hadn't been done before and it needs to be explored. I feel like art and manga is part of art to me. I mean, and I feel like art is meant to explore something that hasn't been explored before. You're like freaking Lewis and Clark. I mean, if you're an artist, even a mangaka, you're freaking Lewis and Clark of the art world. That's it. You have to find something new and do your thing. Otherwise, it's not worth your time. But, yep, that's my rant. Goodbye!